You think you know Jesus. You picture the gentle shepherd, the healer, the bringer of peace. You see Mary Magdalene as a repentant sinner, or perhaps a devoted follower. These are the pictures painted for you. They are the stories etched into your mind. But what if those pictures are incomplete? What if they hide a truth more unsettling than any heresy? A truth deliberately buried for centuries. A truth so radical, it could shatter your entire understanding of faith. Imagine that your most sacred beliefs were built on a foundation of omission. Imagine that the very texts meant to guide you were edited, censored, and reshaped, not by accident, but by design, to control the narrative, to control you, because somewhere, just beneath the surface of accepted history, lies another story, a forbidden story, a story held in fragments of ancient parchment, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. This isn't just about a woman, it's about a revelation that tears down the walls between the divine and the human, a revelation about the secret relationship between Jesus and Mary Magdalene. It is not the relationship you've been led to believe. This truth is terrifying precisely because it demands you question everything. The suppressed voice. For centuries, the mainstream church has worked to diminish Mary Magdalene. They labeled her. They reduced her. They made her palatable, a convenient figure for a specific doctrine. But the original texts, the ones they tried to erase, tell a different tale. They speak of a woman of unparalleled spiritual insight, a woman closer to Jesus's true teachings than any other disciple. She was not just a follower. She was a confidant, a receiver of Gnosis. She understood what others could not grasp. This intimate connection, this deep spiritual bond, threatened the emerging power structures. It challenged the patriarchal order. Her voice had to be silenced, her importance diminished. The story you inherited is not the full story. It is a carefully constructed narrative, a version designed to control your perception of reality. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene is a scarred survivor. It is a text almost lost to time, buried in the sands of Egypt, only rediscovered in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. What remains are fragments, pieces of a puzzle. Yet these fragments speak volumes. They scream a hidden truth. They show Mary not as Peter's subordinate, not as a weeping bystander, but as a central figure, a powerful spiritual leader. She spoke with an authority born of direct communion with the resurrected Jesus. The other disciples, particularly Peter, struggled with this. They doubted her. They resented her. Her very presence challenged their nascent hierarchy. They could not accept her unique insight. They could not accept her elevated spiritual standing. And this struggle, captured in the text, illuminates the battle for the soul of early Christianity. It reveals how profoundly the message was altered. What was so threatening about Mary's understanding? It was not simply her gender. It was the content of her revelations. The essence of Jesus's message, as conveyed through her, was far more radical. It was not about external laws or rituals. It was about inner transformation. It was about overcoming the material prison. It was about escaping the bonds of the physical world. This was a direct assault on the conventional understanding of salvation. It was a terrifying call to personal spiritual rebellion. This is the first layer of the terrifying truth. The truth that the path to true liberation might be far more demanding, far more internal, and far less comfortable than you've been told. The Gnosis of the soul. Jesus, as depicted in Mary's Gospel, shares secrets not of earthly kingdoms, but of celestial ones. He speaks of the soul's journey, its ascent through hostile realms, its struggle against powers and authorities. These are not human enemies. These are cosmic entities, spiritual gatekeepers. They are the forces that bind you to illusion. They are the archons of Gnostic thought. They rule this material world. They seek to keep your soul trapped. Mary understood this. She comprehended the nature of this spiritual warfare. Jesus taught her how to navigate these inner dimensions, how to recognize these invisible chains, how to break free. This is the esoteric knowledge, the knowledge that promises true freedom, but it also reveals the profound danger, the danger of being eternally lost in this labyrinth of illusion. This is not a comforting Sunday school lesson. This is a battle plan for your immortal spirit. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene presents Jesus not as a purveyor of simple parables. He is a mystical guide, a teacher of advanced spiritual techniques. He reveals the true nature of reality. He unmasks the illusions that surround you. He shows you that this world is not your home. It is a temporary dwelling. It is a testing ground, and the forces that control it are not benign. They thrive on ignorance. They feed on your fear. They keep you asleep. Mary's insights offered a way to awaken, a way to see through the deception, a way to reclaim your divine essence. This knowledge was dangerous. It empowered the individual. It undermined the need for intermediaries. It threatened the very concept of a centralized hierarchical church. That is why her message was suppressed. That is why her story was twisted. This radical understanding of existence can feel unsettling. It forces you to confront the idea that the world you inhabit, the reality you accept, is a carefully constructed cage, a prison for your soul. But Jesus, through Mary, offered the keys. He showed her the words to say, the truths to remember, the pathways to ascend beyond the reach of the archons. This is not the conventional narrative of faith. This is a secret teaching, a forbidden gnosis. It promises not just salvation, but ultimate liberation. It demands a level of spiritual courage rarely spoken of. It requires you to look beyond what you see. It requires you to trust your own inner knowing. If these deeper truths, these forgotten pathways to spiritual liberation, resonate with your own inner quest, then understand that this channel is dedicated to pulling back the veil. We dive into the shadows of forgotten texts. We expose the hidden histories. We challenge the comfortable narratives. If you seek to truly understand the esoteric underpinnings of existence, the real battles being fought for your soul, then consider joining this community. Subscribe now. Allow yourself to truly explore. The Unconventional Relationship. The secret relationships between Jesus and Mary Magdalene, as hinted at in her gospel, is not about earthly romance. It is something far more profound, far more unsettling. It is a spiritual marriage, a union of consciousness, a transfer of sacred knowledge, a hieros, gamos. This ancient concept speaks of the merging of divine masculine and feminine principles, not in physical form, but in spirit, in understanding. Mary Magdalene was not just a disciple. She was the one who received the deepest esoteric teachings, the one who truly embodied the spiritual feminine principle, the one who held the key to his true legacy. This deep spiritual intimacy, this bond of shared gnosis, surpassed all other connections. It made her his spiritual heir, his living testament. This spiritual intimacy was the terrifying truth for the nascent church leaders, not because it was scandalous in a worldly sense, but because it gave Mary Magdalene an authority that superseded theirs. It made her a living vessel of divine wisdom, a direct conduit to Jesus's highest truths. They could not control that. They could not integrate it into their patriarchal system. Her direct access, her intuitive understanding, her ability to receive revelations from the resurrected Christ, challenged their claim to singular authority. It threatened their carefully constructed doctrines. So they branded her They silenced her. They wrote her out of history. They turned her into a symbol of what to avoid, a fallen woman, a contrast to the purity they promoted. But the Gospel of Mary tells a different story. It reveals a bond forged in ultimate truth, a connection so powerful it transcended death itself. Jesus appeared to Mary after his resurrection. He spoke to her alone. He entrusted her with teachings he deemed too complex, too dangerous for the other disciples to grasp. This private instruction, this esoteric communion, solidifies her unique status. It highlights the profound depth of their spiritual alliance. This was not a secret kept for shame. It was a secret kept for protection. Protection of the truth. Protection from those who would corrupt it. This relationship wasn't a romance. It was a revelation. It was the transmission of ultimate gnosis. The conflict and suppression. The other disciples, especially Peter, actively challenged Mary's authority. They openly questioned her revelations. They were angry. They were jealous. They could not accept that Jesus would choose a woman moreover, whom they considered lesser. Their words, recorded in her own gospel, are stark. Peter asks, "Did he really speak privately with a woman and not openly to us? Are we to turn around and listen to her? Did he prefer her over us?" These are not the questions of a seeker. These are the questions of a power broker. These words show the fear of a crumbling hierarchy. They expose the human frailties within the early movement, and they illustrate why Mary's truth was so quickly suppressed. The suppression of Mary Magdalene's voice was not just about gender. It was about the content of her message. It was about controlling access to spiritual power. If individuals could attain gnosis directly, if the path to the divine was internal and personal, then what need was there for an external authority? What need for a church? What need for priests? This terrified those who sought to establish a new order, an order where they would be the gatekeepers, an order where they would control the narrative. So Mary's teachings were branded as heresy, her followers persecuted, her texts destroyed, and a different version of Christianity took hold. A version that emphasized obedience, a version that de-emphasized personal revelation. This deliberate suppression has shaped our world. It has influenced centuries of thought. It has impacted how you understand yourself, how you understand God, how you understand your place in the universe. The terrifying truth is that you have been denied crucial knowledge, knowledge that could empower you, knowledge that could set you free. The conflict between Peter and Mary was not just a historical squabble, it was a symbolic battle, a battle between two fundamentally different approaches to faith, one seeking institutional power, the other advocating individual spiritual liberation. The institutional won, but the whispers of the other path endure. They remain in texts like Mary's Gospel, waiting to be heard, waiting to be understood. The path of inner revelation. Mary's Gospel speaks of a process of inner purification, a journey to shed the garments of oblivion. These garments are the illusions you wear, the false beliefs you cling to, the attachments that bind you to this lower world. Jesus teaches Mary how to transcend these limitations, how to pass through the 7 powers of wrath. These are not external demons you can fight with a sword. They are internal forces. They are your own destructive emotions, your ego, your pride, your ignorance. They are the psychological chains that prevent your soul's ascent. The path is not easy. It demands radical self-honesty. It demands courage to face your inner darkness. This inner work, this stripping away of illusion, is the core of Jesus' esoteric teaching to Mary. He revealed that true salvation isn't granted from above through mere belief. It is achieved from within, through gnosis, through profound self-knowledge. He taught her how to perceive the true nature of spirit, how to distinguish it from matter, how to navigate the pitfalls of the ego. This profound journey is what makes her gospel so revolutionary. It is a guide to spiritual awakening, a manual for escaping the illusions of this world. But it is also a terrifying challenge, because it puts the burden of your liberation squarely on your shoulders. No one else can do this work for you. No one can walk this path for you. Mary Magdalene's gospel, therefore, is an invitation to embark on your own journey of inner revelation, to question the narratives you've inherited, to seek out the hidden truths, to understand that the most profound relationship you can have is not with external dogma. It is with your own indwelling spirit, the divine spark within you. Jesus' message to Mary was a call to awaken that spark, to fan its flame, to let it guide you through the darkness, to realize that the kingdom of heaven is not a distant place. It is within you. And accessing it requires confronting your own inner demons. It requires transcending the illusions that have been carefully cultivated around you. The unveiling of hidden realities. The terrifying truth about Mary Magdalene's relationship with Jesus, therefore, is not a simple story of love. It is a story of profound esoteric initiation. It is a narrative of spiritual transmission, a journey into realms beyond your current comprehension. It reveals a Jesus far more complex, far more mystical, far more demanding than the figure presented in mainstream texts. And it reveals a Mary Magdalene as his most capable student, his true spiritual successor, the keeper of his deepest secrets. This knowledge, once accepted, changes everything. It changes how you perceive your life, how you perceive your struggles, how you perceive your ultimate destiny. It lays bare the true nature of reality. This unveiling of hidden realities forces you to confront the deliberate efforts made to obscure these truths, to understand that power structures, both ancient and modern, thrive on keeping you spiritually dependent. They want you to believe that access to the divine is mediated, that you need their interpretation, their rituals, their authority. But the Gospel of Mary challenges all of that. It points to a direct path, a personal revelation. It speaks of a liberation that comes from within, a gnosis that transcends all earthly authority. This is why it was buried. This is why it was condemned. It offered a freedom too potent for those who sought control. The very existence of this gospel, and others like it, is a testament to the enduring nature of truth. No matter how deeply it is buried, no matter how fiercely it is suppressed, it finds a way to resurface. These ancient texts are not mere historical curiosities. They are living blueprints for spiritual liberation. They are whispers from a forgotten age, whispers that carry a powerful message for our time, a message that urges you to look beyond the surface, to question what you are told, to seek the truth for yourself, because the terrifying truth is that you have been living under a shadow cast by centuries of calculated omission, a shadow that has prevented you from seeing your own divine potential. The legacy of the suppressed truth. The legacy of Mary Magdalene's suppressed truth lives on. It is not confined to ancient manuscripts. It resonates in the hearts of those who sense a deeper reality, those who feel the incompleteness of conventional narratives. Her story, once dismissed, now re-emerges as a beacon guiding you towards a more profound understanding of Christ, a more profound understanding of yourself, and a more honest confrontation with the forces that seek to control your spirit. This legacy demands that you move beyond passive acceptance. It calls for active spiritual inquiry. It insists that you become your own truth seeker, your own light bearer. Consider the implications for your own spiritual path. If Jesus truly taught a path of radical inner gnosis, what have you missed? What illusions have you unknowingly embraced? What powers have you inadvertently served? These questions are unsettling. They are meant to be. They are the keys to your awakening. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene is not just a historical text. It is a challenge to your current understanding. It is a call to reclaim a forgotten inheritance, an inheritance of spiritual sovereignty, an inheritance that was deliberately hidden from you. It speaks to the terrifying freedom that comes with true knowledge, the freedom that can only be found when you dare to look beyond the veil. This deep dive into the Gospel of Mary Magdalene is just one facet of the esoteric knowledge available, the suppressed texts, the forgotten lore, the ancient wisdom that lies just beneath the surface of common understanding. If you feel a pull towards these hidden streams of knowledge, if you are ready to challenge your perception of reality and explore the true nature of the forces at play, then you'll find a wealth of insights in our Demonology and Esoteric Knowledge playlist. It is a collection of videos designed to peel back the layers of deception, to illuminate the darkness. The link to that playlist is in the pinned comment below. It is time to truly understand what you are up against. The relationship between Jesus and Mary Magdalene, therefore, was not the story you were told. It was a terrifyingly intimate union of spirit, a sacred transfer of Gnosis, a revelation of a path to liberation that demands ultimate courage and profound self-knowledge. It is a truth that destabilizes comfortable beliefs. It pushes you to question authority. It forces you to look within. It is a truth that was suppressed, not because it was false, but because it was too powerful, too liberating, too dangerous for those who sought to control the human spirit. What does the idea of Mary Magdalene as the true keeper of Jesus's most terrifying and liberating truths mean for your understanding of faith and reality? Share your own insights and feelings about this hidden history in the comments below. Let your truth be heard.